Welcome to Moonlight Madness, and today we're doing the sign because we're in Scorpio season. We officially went to Scorpio season on the 1st of November. Apparently it's in our 10th house, so this is to do with work, career, objectives is the 10th house. I have Scorpio in my chart. I can't remember where it is, but I know I have a placement. I have a placement in Scorpio, Cancer, and Pisces, so I've got a lot of water. There's a book that was gifted to me a very long time ago by a scorpion. It's quite funny, it's unique. And it's called Memoirs of a Geisha. He was a scorpion, and it talks about this little girl that's been abandoned by her parents because her mother dies and then her father's left with her, but he can't afford to look after her anymore, so he prostitutes her out in a way. He has to give her to a place where they serve tea to wealthy men. And this wonderful man, who's a lot older than her, sees her and he decides to take her in and marry her. And he's quite wealthy and she's just this young girl that's got nowhere to go and has to live with these people that have to do these things. And he doesn't want that for her. It's very similar and reminiscent of Pretty Baby with Brooke Shields, where she's a prostitute. And this young guy who's like 20 years older than her decides to marry her to get her out of that situation. That's what this book reminds me of. But it's a beautiful story. I've seen the movie. The movie's really good, but the book's better. The books always are better. It's by Arthur Golden. He never wrote any more books after this book. I don't know why. But I just liked the tradition of it and the fact that she had all this water in her chart, like I do. He says, you have so much water. And her eyes were blue, and she was Japanese. And that was highly unusual. I just found that fascinating. And so that's why I wanted to talk about that today, because it reminds me of this ex-partner of mine. I almost married him, and he was from another culture, but he said this book was the most popular book back when we were dating, and I think I was like 23 at the time. So like my son's about 23 now, so this is why it reminds me of that time in my life. And if you live in Sydney, everyone on the train has a book. It's a form of how do you say? It's like a barrier. It's not a barrier. It's like kind of like, well, I'm sitting on the train here. I don't want to be bothered, and I've got something to do, so I don't look like I'm lonely, type thing. But everyone in Sydney is lonely. That's the funny part. You go down there for your job. I know lots of people, lots of friends that moved back when they were 23, and I went with them. I couch surfed for a while in Sydney on a friend's couch till I got my own place, because that's what you did back then, and it's coming back to that. It's funny how 23 years ago I was couch surfing, and now that's becoming common again because there's so much homelessness. So we've gone full circle, the full gamut. I don't think people realise that. Like the movie Friends, they kind of, moved in with Monica because she had to somehow pay rent, and no one can afford it in New York. So that's how Friends came about, because Monica took in, I think it was not Chandler, it was what's her name? Jennifer Aniston. Yeah, she took in Rachel, and so it's very similar energy. We've kind of gone full circle back to the 90s. If you think about it, really think about it. I tell my kids the 90s were the best era. We had In Excess, we had huge bands like KLF. You could go clubbing till you whenever. You didn't have a curfew. You didn't have social media, so no one knew what you got up to, which was even better. So you could go off and do these crazy things and never ever get found out about. So, like, you had no footprint. You had no social media footprint. These days, everyone wants to post about their wonderful lives. But behind closed doors, as I've said to my son, is a different story. What they post online is actually not true. It's not authentic. So what you're getting is what their version of what they wish their lives were, which is beautiful and magical and fantastic, and they look amazing every other day. What they don't show you is the times that they can't post on social media, or they go off social media because they're having a nervous breakdown, or they've lost their home, or they've lost their house, or they've lost their mind, or someone had to take over their account. So what I'm getting at is that it's not real. What we're seeing is an illusion. We are being faced with illusions every day. I keep telling my mother, turn the television off, don't watch the news. A lot of it's sensationalised because they can. I don't believe all the stuff that's happening in the Gaza Strip is actually accurate. I think they've sensationalised it because it's shock jock mentality. It's like Howard Stern. That's what I believe. That's my opinion. You know, they used to use fear. Fear is a way to control the masses. When we were in lockdown and the pandemic happened, they were using shock mentality, so everyone was scared about how many people had died or whatever it was, and it wasn't real. They used to play with the numbers like they do in the polls when someone goes to bat for presidency or, I don't know, a new person in office. I don't think it's real. I think they sensationalise it because it's news. And if they don't have any news, they'll make it up. Or they'll make it look bigger than Ben-Hur. So I said to my mum, don't believe everything you read or see, because it usually is not true. Because that's news. It's entertaining. It's not actually news anymore, it's entertainment. And this is why it becomes hard, because in Australia we don't have a lot of news, and we tend to go look overseas for news. Like, you might find the Today Show, a lot of the time they will talk about a little bit about Australia, but then they will talk about world events, because the world events take up most of the Today Show, or the news becomes just a small snippet about Australia, and the rest of it's about the world. And that's how we live. It's been like that for a very long time. But can you imagine if the pandemic happened back in the 1800s and there was no way to see your loved one? They went off to war, your loved ones were overseas, there was a pandemic, and there was an ocean between you. How would you know what was going on? You wouldn't. You'd have a letter that would take 3 months to arrive in your letterbox. Things were a lot different back then. The last pandemic, this is my belief, happened in the same place twice. That doesn't normally happen. I feel, if you remember, if you think about it, petrol stations are not allowed to have another petrol station once they shut it down for 7 years. I believe the pandemic, the toxins, were still in the soil from 1800s, and that's how we reinfected ourselves. I don't think it was anyone's fault. I think what happened back in the 1800s was still in the soil, in the places they went to, what they touched, what you touch you can draw into you. If you're a psychic medium, like I draw everything into me because I'm that psychic. I have to touch things for a minute or watch a bit of footage and I'm going to see future events. So there's a lot of people out there that don't talk about that, because back then if you were a witch, they would burn you at the stake. We're in Halloween, by the way. New Hallows Eve is happening right now in America. We're one day behind. We already celebrated Halloween, which is why I'm doing this now, because we're on New Hallows Eve. This is when the veil is the thinnest that it's ever been, so all the people that have passed over can come and visit you. So this morning, early hours, I got woken up at 8 o'clock. Supposed to go see my grandfather, he's in a nursing home. My grandmother came to me and was showing me around. There she is, Princess of Wands. She was a Leo. Showing me around her house, because I saw Granddad 2 weeks ago and I think he misses his home. So I got a floor plan. I astral travelled, so I went back in time. I touched my mum, and she's like, well, she's the second daughter of my grandmother. So because I touched her, I got the impression of my grandmother, and she was going through her house. And she was walking through it from her bedroom to the spare room, which was my Uncle Morris's house, right through to all the rooms that happened to be in the house, right out to where I was first in a tub when I was a little girl. Back in the day, the English used to bathe their kids in the laundry tub, and that's my first bathtub was when I was a little girl. And I still have memories of that, which I shouldn't, but I do. So they were trying to show me that I'm still attached to it. I can access it whenever I want, because I love that house. That's where I grew up. A young single parent, that was my mum. And so I grew up with my grandparents, my extended family, which was my Uncle Morris, my Auntie Meg, my Auntie Linda. I had that circle of support, which was the best thing, because I had support, and so did my mum, and that was a really good thing, I think. You know, I think back in the day, you grew up with your grandparents, you moved in. I'm reading a book right now, which is a really good book. It's an Elvis Presley book. It's a novel. I'm just reading it. It's very interesting. It's called Lisa Marie Presley, From Here to the Great Unknown. And it talks about her childhood and what she remembers, and it also talks about what Riley remembers, Riley Keough, her firstborn child. Back in the South, back in the day, when you got wealthy, you would take your entire family in. We've gone back to that era. That was in the 1950s. So what we've done, we haven't learned anything. We've just repeated a cycle. We're on rinse, repeat. That's what I believe. And it's kind of sad, because we were supposed to evolve. But we didn't evolve because when you're separate, when you don't have family around you, you go backwards. Your mental health suffers, and you don't have that support that you really need. And if you don't have support, familiarity-wise, your children miss out, and then they don't have that support, and then they turn to drugs. So I believe that It Takes a Village to Raise a Child is by Hillary Clinton. I read that book. I was very impressed by it. And she used to talk about that back in the 1950s, you didn't have the internet, you didn't have a telephone, you couldn't afford it, and everyone in the street knew each other. You could play cricket till it was dark. When it went dark, that was when you were supposed to come home. You didn't have a text message, or you didn't have any of that stuff. And everyone used to look after each other. Everyone looked out for each other's kids. We didn't have after-school care. We didn't have Neighbourhood Watch, but it was kind of like an early stage or an early version of Neighbourhood Watch. So I love that. I really love that that book. It's one of my favourites. Hillary Clinton is one of the most amazing people in society. I really admire her for running for president. I think she was trying to run for president last term, or the one before that. But I think she would have been a brilliant first lady. Well, not first lady, brilliant president, because she's got all the tools. She's a lawyer. Her background is lawyer. And her husband, I think, is also a lawyer. Yeah, Mr. Clinton was a lawyer. And then before that, we had, is it Obama, Barack, and they were both lawyers. And they were both childhood, what do you call it, teenage sweethearts. They met in college, which is the same as what I think Hillary Clinton was with Bill Clinton. So we're going back to, it's funny how we're looking back in the past in order to look forward to the future. And I believe we have to always look to the past, because the past is reminiscent of what the future could hold. We have to find a way to do both, to get modern views, but tie it in with old values, old traditional values. I think that's the best way. It's like raising a child. You can't put the foot on the brake all the time, or the foot on the accelerator. You must use the clutch, which is the pause button. A little bit on the accelerator, a little bit on the clutch, and a little bit on the brake. You can't do too much extremes of anything, and that's my belief. So we're in a manifesting energy here for today, for we're doing for the water signs. Some of you may have a rock star energy, as you may be a rock star, you may be on stage. The magician to me is like someone that's in the public limelight. He is at the bottom of a hill, but he wants to go up to the top of the hill, and he wants to do it really quick. This is Aries energy. Some of you may have strong Aries in your chart if you're a water sign. Now, Aries is all about the Thor. They're the Thor. They're the people that go to battle. they go in, and if you marry an Aries and another Aries, oh my God, that's like, how would we describe this? Yeah, I guess Artemis, the god of war. She was the god of war in the Greek mythology. And then you've got Thor. Two really strong personalities. Doesn't always work. Then we've got the world. So some of you may be from another country, or you may be looking at someone from another country that you like that is a Aries, and he, she, or they may be on the world stage as in a platform of their own, and may have their own YouTube channel. And it says here that maybe you're about to be on stage, a world success, because you are sharing, you are promoting your page, you are on it all the time, and you are researching it. It says you're about to boom. The world is, the 3 is like a new chapter. You're attracting people that are very high, in high places, that are watching your channel. And they say that millionaires watch tarot, trillionaires watch YouTube tarot card readings. You can't tell me that this is not real. It's not an exact science, as I tried to tell one celebrity recently. It is not an exact science, because it is based on emotion, fear, and wanting to see the future. If you're a time traveler like me, we don't exist in the 3D. We have 1 foot in the 3D and 1 foot in the 5D, which is future events. I astral traveled today because I touched my mum, but instead of astral traveling forward, I went astral travel backwards in time, when things were simple and I could see the house and the plan and the layout of the house. But there was someone new in the house, which means that I'm thinking they're going to sell the house. The house is going to be sold again. Because when my grandparents moved out of there to a more friendly environment because they couldn't get around and they needed handrails and the whole thing because of their age. Some new person bought it. I think that it's about to be sold. I think there's going to be another buyer. That's what I feel. The house is going to be sold. Now, I've got Cancer strong in my chart. Most Cancers are all about their home. If their home life is good, then they are good. Most Cancerians become really good real estate agents. My dad is a real estate agent, and he's really good at what he does. And he likes to know. I used to talk to him and say, "Do you think you're psychic too, like I am?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, when you walk into a house, do you get a knowing, like the layout, the plan out? You kind of get a map of what the place looks like before you go up the stairs?" He goes, "Yeah, I do." I said, "That's your intuition." And Cancerians usually are very, very psychic. And then you've got Pisces, which are the dreamers of the zodiac, and I've got Pisces in my chart, so very strong. They like to do astral traveling, dreams, daydreams. I daydream all the time. So that's the sort of thing I am. So in your past, you've got the Prince of Summer. This is a romantic, captivating, dramatic, flirtatious person. They can write poetry, look into your eyes, and then get bored and move on to someone else. They get bored very quickly. They fall in love very quickly. They love bomb people. They like to sweep you off your feet. They're very emotional. Their heart is made, see that little crystal there, of glass. So be very careful with them. They're fragile. They may come across like warlike if they've got Aries in their chart. I've got an Aries ascendant. So I was born 1042, which is Aries ascendant. I identify very strongly with Aries more than Aquarius. I can be a humanitarian, but I can be extremely driven. And I want to be number one. I'm very ambitious. That's my drive. I have such a drive, it's not funny. When I went and did City to Surf back in the day, the last one I did, the best one I did was when my dad was there. I did it in 74 minutes flat. The Jamaicans did it in 47 minutes. I was only 20 minutes behind them. I was sick though. I really pushed myself. I had a Frankfurt the night before. That was a really bad idea. I was laid out in a tent, in a first aid tent, because I had cramping from the bad oils. I got kind of like a stomach virus from stress. I was trying to prove myself. So health is really important to water signs because they're extremely emotional. So if you can get your emotions right and your mind right, then everything else will follow. If you can do logical decisions rather than emotional decisions, you'll make the right choice every time. This is what I've learned from being who I am, being Aquarian, but I've also got all that water. So they're very romantic, the Prince of Cups are. Then you've got the Nine of Swords. So someone in your background, maybe recently, you've been having nightmares, panic attacks, sleepwalking attacks. I have them a lot when I'm really upset about my kids. Focusing on worst case scenarios. So some of you may overthink. If you've got Aquarius, if you're water, but you have Aquarius in your chart and you have Libra in your chart, you overthink quite a bit. And that's half the problem. I second guess myself, and then I realise I should have listened to my gut the whole time. Because if you listen to your gut, it usually works out. So allowing worry to grow out of proportion to the problem. So she could be sleeping, but she's scared about the moon. She's scared of what's coming into her room. And see the doves underneath there? The doves are, she could have peace if she stopped over worrying and maybe wrote it down on a piece of paper, all her fears. Like a letter to a counsellor. Hey, I'm worried about this, 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 and this. And then you won't be tossing and turning, worrying about it before you go to bed. And read a really good book. I got told this from my therapist. So the green is healing. So you will heal from this, but the moon is causing fear and chaos. And we are just coming out of a full moon in Scorpio. So that would cause accidents, money going missing, thieving. All of those things happen on a full moon. Accidents happen on a full moon. I was sick. Well, no, I wasn't sick. I was sick from trauma and stress and shock from a week ago when I found a kid on the side of the road, like middle of the road, so I should say, and no one would help him. He was screaming out, and I didn't have a first aid kit on me, but thank God I had some tissues, and he got a big shard of glass wedged in his leg, and I was there to help lift him up off the ground because I'm quite strong. And then I got the tissues of the girlfriend. Someone's on the phone calling 000. We did all the first aid procedures, and then I gave him a Rennie for his upset stomach, and then I got the Panadol I had for him, thank God. And he started to come down, and I just sat and held his hand. We did some talk therapy, and that was cool. Because I'm psychic and I'm an empathic person, I took all of that on. I tried to absorb it from him because I didn't want him to feel it. So when we did handover, he was calm, but then I went home. I had to go back down that same spot where he was in the accident, and I started to have a panic attack, and I had a it triggered me, and I was so worked up. I vomited. I was vomiting. I couldn't stop vomiting. I'm guessing that's all adrenals and all that. And so then I had to go to the hospital and sit in there for 4 hours. That was a pain in the butt. But they wanted to check my vitals and the whole thing, and that's all I could really do. But, you know, he's okay. Good news, he's okay. And he's at home and he's safe, and I'm just glad that he's okay. So the next card we've got is the Ace of Wands. This is like a beginning. It's like the birth of something. Be fearless and happily pursue your most treasured dreams. Amazing career opportunities. So this is the birth of a business. It could be a birth in your family. There may be a baby on the way. Because, the Ace of Wands is like, you know, how a man likes to use his thing and then you have a baby. That's what I'm trying to be PG friendly. This is a baby on the way. And it's, because you've got all the small animals there. See, the little bunny rabbit, that's fertility. And the butterflies is thought. So thoughts. Your thoughts will either progress your child being healthy, but your fears will progress it going backwards. So what you fear will come about. Try to have happy thoughts is what it's saying here. The butterflies are saying about happy thoughts, positive thoughts. Some of you may be having a girl, because I see a little girl here. If you haven't already got one, then maybe a little girl. I don't see any boy energy here. If you want a boy, I'm sorry. All I can see is girl energy. If it was a boy, I would have picked it out. But we haven't finished the reading yet. I'll go to the oracle cards to find out what else. We've got selenite, which I love, because it amplifies anything you want to amplify. So if you want to amplify love, and love is stronger than fear, put loving thoughts into that. And with rose quartz, it'll attract love. If you're worried about, I'm going to put this on, because love is the baby, right? Then we've got bloodstone. That is healing energy. Bloodstone is also protective energy. So I'm going to put bloodstone on that child that's coming in. And I'll put the selenite to amplify it times 10 to protect. Or we can also do, what have we got? There it is. Obsidian. Black obsidian. It's protection. I'll put that on the child as well. Now we've got here, new home. Some of you may be moving to a new job or a new home. Or some of you may be getting married. You may have met the love of your life, and you either move in with them or they've asked you to marry them. It's a very happy family life, the Four of Wands, or a very happy working environment. Then we've got here around you, people and friends and family around you. My grandmother's around me at the moment because I see her all the time in my sleep. That's the Princess of Wands, and that is fire, is Aries, Leo, what's that one? Sagittarian energy around you. So you may have an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarian. They are fun. They are the absolute life of the party. You won't ever have a party that's boring if you have a Sagittarian, Leo, or Aries around you. They love to sing and dance and act. Some of them are singers, some of them are dancers, and some of them are actors. It's time to go after your dreams. Do something that expands your horizons. Let your creativity take flight. You need to do something creative, and creative energy brings about a change and a shift in your aura. So when you're creative, you're expressing the highest order, which is divinely gifted from God. So if you've got an ability to act, sing, dance, draw, paint, journal, you need to do all those things, because that will really help your aura, and it will help your energetic field grow, and you'll attract new and loving energy. And transformation, we're in Scorpio season is the death. So you may be getting, putting something to bed, like you might be getting over an addiction, you may be trying to overcome something, overcome a fear. Now we've got here the beautiful pumpkin here, which represents the moon. So the moon is all about the moon rules Scorpio, but it also rules Cancer. And the moon's phases change every 16 to 32 days. So it's saying to you, every 16 to 32 days, you're in a different stage of the moon. So when it's a full moon, you're extremely magnetic, and you'll pull people in without even wanting to, or they'll pull you in without even realizing. So when I found that kid on the side of the road, and the week before that we had the motorbike accident, which I was somehow in the right place at the right time, it's because the full moon was coming. And so I'm magnetic, and I'll attract, or I'll fix, or how would you say, like a GPS. I will go find what I need to do, or where I need to be at the right place at the right time to fix or try and help a situation, because I feel it, I'm drawn to it. If I feel sick or something, it's because something bad's going to happen. But if something bad's already happened, then that's the byproduct, because of what I've witnessed 2 weeks in a row. I had 2 accidents I had to deal with that I didn't have any equipment with. I don't go walking anywhere now without a first aid kit. So the first aid course I did through Got Your Sister Back was one of the best courses I've ever done. And it's just having the things on you. I wish I had it at the time. You know, like saline to clean out the wound where the glass had gone in. That's important. You need to have something to clean out the wound so it doesn't get infected. I had tissues. That was probably the worst thing, but at least I stopped the bleeding. At least we stopped the bleeding. So we've got here Tiger's Eye. Now Tiger's Eye is for anyone who's got Leo in their chart. Tiger's Eye is also about protection and strength. It is a very fiery crystal. So strength is what is needed right now. You may be in a situation where you're needing to pull upon your strength. I have Sagittarius and I have a bit of Leo in my chart. Very strong energy. And again, Sagittarians, they're fun. And they're also about social justice. So you may be very concerned about other people's justice in the world, about humanity and how to help others. Then we've got here what's around you, what your hopes and fears are, is that there is a better choice of not seeing things clearly, running away from the truth. Some of you may be scared to face things, but it's saying don't be worried, because the Seven of Swords is being on guard. You may be very guarded at the moment. You may be putting up your sword, and you may not want to let too many people in because you're maybe traumatized like I am. But it's saying you have this magic decanter with the only water left in the entire world, and they're like, how do you have that? Because you were gifted with it. And I'm trying to say to you, water, in my opinion, is emotion. When we cry, we express an emotion, and water is the most powerful. It's the most powerful thing to express because it's emotion. It's pure emotion. It comes in watery eyes. A lot of Scorpios have watery eyes. I have allergies. Trust me, my eyes water all the time. I'm very allergic. I'm highly allergic. And so the water is the emotion that just comes out of your eyes. You know, it's feelings. And maybe you're learning how to be vulnerable. Maybe you've gone and done a course like I did and learned how to be vulnerable. And I think that's really important. You can be strong and stoic, but sometimes it requires you to release all those emotions, because if you don't release them, they build up and they come out as anger. You don't want to do that. So the next card we got is the Four of Pentacles. Now this is a beautiful card, but it also says it's like you've got a little bit of depression. It's saying maybe you're a bit, blah. It's a bit blah today. You may be in a rut, and water people tend to get very depressed very easily. So maybe you need to do something that's going to inspire you, do something creative like drawing, singing, writing, songwriting, playing music, something that lifts your spirit to get you out of that rut. Because once you've lifted out of that, the confidence will soar and you'll attract the right people to you. Now the next deck I'm using, this is my favourite deck, is the Fairy Oracle by Lucy Cavendish, and artwork by Selena Fennick. It's the most beautiful deck. I love the fairies. I love the pictures that are on there. That's why I was attracted to it. It's mainly the art that I'm attracted to. So I'm going to pull one or two cards on that. This is a long reading because we're in water energy, we're in Scorpio energy, and I figure I owe the Scorpions a bigger read, if that makes sense. Okay, I pulled the first one, Story Keeper. It says, tell your story. You need to write your wisdom and share your knowledge. Well, you can do it through a YouTube channel, can't you? You can tell what techniques work for you to calm your farm. If I had anyone to tell me how to calm down what I do, I'd be extremely grateful. Write down in the comments how you turn down an extreme gift that does not shut off. I've gone and asked Lifeline. They've said to me to go talk to a priest. I'm not religious, but they're trained in theology. They're trained in working with angels and the whole thing. So I'm thinking about doing that. That's my next. I don't want to do hypnotherapy. I don't trust that. My psychologist said don't do that. You can't control what they put in your mind. Oh, scared to fly. Yeah, yep. Some of you may were supposed to go on a trip or something and you don't want to do it. Maybe you want to do a job but you're not sure how to go about it. Or maybe you don't think you have enough, what's the word? You don't have enough knowledge about what you do, but it's actually incorrect. You may have imposter syndrome. Right, next card. We'll do a quick two cards. Oh, yeah, okay. And maybe you guys just want to work with yourself because you don't want to include anyone else. So maybe you're going to get knowledge and research on how to do all this on your own so you don't have to wait for other people. Flying. Yeah, there's the astral traveling card. I got that yesterday before I had the dream this morning. It's talking about astral traveling and how you'll get a lot of insight from a bird's eye view, as in when you're asleep. You get to travel forward and backwards in time. It's like a time machine. I'm actually really grateful for it in some ways. Oh, and there's a golden palace. Okay. Some of you may be chatting with someone from overseas that lives in a palace that may be influential and may be able to help you, or you may be able to help them because you have insight, because you are psychic. They may ask for your input. Now, with Scorpio energy, I also like to address that most Scorpions need grounding because they're emotional. So we need to stop all that emotion being overwhelming to the point where they can't think straight. Sorry, because their emotions have taken over their head. They've flipped their lid. There's an old saying. So what I've got is smoky quartz, very beneficial for a Scorpion. Apache tears is another really good. I've been trying to find one. Trust me, they're very expensive and they're really hard to get, very hard to come by. Apache tears and black obsidian, and because it's all grounding energy, and which is logical. And yeah, black obsidian, smoky quartz, and Apache tears are all good for Scorpions. Okay, now we've got flying. So I'll read you out of that because I haven't read this for a very long time. It's basically saying you get astral travel. And you're flying above it and looking down at the bird's eye view. You have the power to see things from a higher perspective. It's also very close to, by perspective, we talk about looking at things in a different way. I think of the Hangman card where he's upside down and he's looking at the world like Odin did, and on the tree, and then he got the whole runic alphabet. That's how he got the runic alphabet. If you were a bird flying high in the air, what would you see? When you soar above this, life's challenges and opportunities, a new perspective becomes available. Today you have invisible wings that allow you to swiftly bring your circumstances into alignment with your highest purpose. This is a sign that your waiting is over, after that all your hard work is paid off, and the things you hope for are no longer beyond your scope. You have the ability to reach for the stars and find one with your name on it. Ooh! Spread your wings and soar. The angels are waiting for you. You're about to become very famous, is what it's saying. And 2 is partnership. You may be partnering up with someone that's similar to what you do. They may be able to help you with what you do. Golden Palace the Golden Palace is number 23, which is a 5 energy. 5 is all about working with others, trying to work well with others. Yeah, that's it. Someone may pick you up that's famous. You're in the process of deep and beautiful change. Butterflies earn their wings through great effort. The process of change is often painful, for it is never without losses and sacrifices. If you are to transform from one form to another, a part of you needs to die. Well, I've died 3 times, so that would be apparent for me. So I've got a near-death experience. This is why I awaken so much that I can't switch it off. Letting go isn't easy, especially when you're used to thinking a certain way about your life and how you live it. Just as a snake sheds its dead skin, or a caterpillar dies so that a butterfly can be born, you're required to release your old ideas and embrace a necessary change so you can live your best life. Perhaps you're being asked to let go of low self-worth. Yes, I've got that. A dream that no longer serves you, a relationship that is draining, or unhealthy habits. Despite your fear, you must accept that this is a transformational time for you. There will be some loss involved, but you'll love what you've become. Well, that's really nice. So it's like we're coming into butterfly season. That happens in February, and I'm an Aquarian. I can tell you the March of the Monarch butterfly is in January, right through to the middle of February. But they start to migrate December, they start to migrate. So it's talking about transformation. You want to transmute one thought to another. So if you have, this is what I've been told when I went to get my blood pressure done. This was up in the hospital. She said, you were very, your blood pressure is really high. I said, I hate being in hospitals. She goes, okay, well, don't talk, breathe. I was reading a book to try and calm myself down because I hate hospitals and I hate doctors. And I'm like, okay, yep, breathe, yep, calm myself down. Think happy thoughts is what she said. Think happy thoughts. Well, my last doctor said that to me. If you think happy thoughts, then you calm your blood pressure down, and then everything else can calm down. If you think scary thoughts or scary, worst case fears, then that can come out and raise your blood pressure. So the story keeper is number 4. You may like to write. You may look at doing writing to journal how you feel, and then every night when you write how you feel, or if you have a dream book, like I have a dream diary, I have a VARD, a visual arts diary, and I write it all down, I date it. So when it comes true, I tick it off and go, yep, that happened, and yep, that happened. Time to tell who you are. Share your story. Recognize that you are a record keeper. What it is you wish to give your ancestors with. Think of the generations to come and live your life as you would wish your story to be told. Bring what you dream of into a reality on a daily basis. Tell the best story possible to yourself about your life. Writing or journaling is going to be very therapeutic. Be original in your storytelling. So it's saying to you that you need to write about it. Get it out there. Express it. Draw it. Write it. Sing it. Act it. Expression. Very important for children as well. You may have a Capricorn that's interested in you that may have the same ability as you. Now, there's a book that I want to go buy, or I want someone to buy me for Christmas. I'm putting it out there. It's the Silver uh, system. Oh, what's it called? Silver Mind Control book. It's by Dr. Silva, Dr. Jose Silva, who talks about thinking about certain ways and acting on them. And it really worked. Actually, there's a whole school devoted to it. He died in, I think, 1999. And the guy that talks about it is Vashma Lakizi. I think I can't even pronounce his name. Isn't that awful? So sorry. I'll try and pronounce it right. It is Vishen Lakhiani from Silver Mind. Yeah. Silver Ultra Mind is what they do. Yeah, it's the Mind Valley. He invented Mind Valley. He's a Capricorn as well. And he travels all over the world. And he's a public speaker. And he practices everything that the Silver Method did. So the Story Keeper is saying that. Now the next card we got is Scared to Fly, which is 18. You may just have low self-esteem and don't even think you have the equipment to do what you want to do. It is time to sense the atmosphere and wait for the right moment. It is not time to go when you are told by another, but when you know you are ready. It may look like hanging on to fear or to others, but it can, in fact, you need just a little more time to support you, and then you can fly. It is truly about sinking into the lunar cycles. So on a full moon is usually when a baby's born, when people get a job. It's a good luck energy as well. Or if you want to do a spell, you would do it on a full moon. Now I'm doing a spell. As you can see this red candle, I've bathed it in, I've had to anoint it. There's a whole process with it. It says I wrote it with a pen, no, a needle. I engraved in it, bring love to me. So if you're looking for love, you burn the candle at the same time every night for 1 hour. And it's supposed to bring love to you because you're attracting it. You're not searching for it. You are not hunting for it. You're attracting. Attracting energy is more appealing than hunting. And we've got all 4 elements here. We've got fire, wind, and water. The 4 elements. Fire, earth, water, and air. Because of the candles burning is the fire. Water, earth's the candle, and air is what's burning up. And what you can see is when you play with it, you can actually attract the flame. I play with it all the time, and I find that you can make it move. You can make it dance. So Scared to Fly is, it's time to sense the atmosphere and wait for the right moment. It is not time to go when you are told by another. It is truly sinking into the lunar. When planning a step, be sure to do it at the right time when the moon, the energies in nature still supports moving forward. Learn more about the natural festivals and the lunar cycles and plan your step accordingly. Do not rush. Know that good things do take time and that slowly can indeed be a worthy way to work. Rushing can create dilemmas, so sense out what is right for you and get ready to fly higher than ever before. So it says you're going to come into a real glow up. And it says that you're quite an attractive person, but you don't realise it. You just kind of walk around in a daze. I'm really stupid when it comes to relationships. I didn't even realise that when someone's protective of you, like overly protective and, how would you say, cramping your style, that's because they care about you. I just thought it was like someone being controlling, an obsession. Because a lot of Scorpios, this is the thing about Scorpios, and it's a problem. Aquarians are like that too. We're fixated. When we get fixated on something, we obsess about it. To the point where we keep watching it, trying to find signs of life. It's just funny because we obsess. And obsession also becomes possession. I know this guy that I dated, his favourite perfume would be, Obsession by Calvin Klein. They become obsessed with things, whether it's people, places, or things. And unfortunately, that can be kind of scary to another person. If someone's obsessed with you and they keep calling you and ringing you and bugging you, you kind of go, look, let me just have my space here. I would like to breathe. I would like to breathe in and out and not have someone constantly bugging me. I hate being bugged. I love my alone time. Aquarians love their alone time. We need that time to think. And Scorpios need to be hibernated because when they're like crystals. I have to put them out tonight. The crystals have to exist and be cleansed on a full moon, which we're currently in. So I'm going to put them in a bowl with some salt, put them on the windowsill, and let the moon clean their energy. What I used to do is put them in a box and then bring them out. And usually when that happens, they become too active to the point where I can't sleep because there's so much activity. So you've got to think about what you do and how you do it. And look at that, maybe a little book on moon magic. I know there's a book by, is it called Titania's Book of, I don't know, Titania's Book of Magic, but there is a deck I'd like to get, and it's called the Moon Cycles, and it talks about moon cycles, which also works with the water and the ocean and the women's cycles, and that usually generally can tell you what cycle you're in before you go for something. So if we're in a waning moon, like the moon's about to disappear into a crescent moon, that's not the best time to go for a job. You need to go for a job on a full moon, because that's the best. It's when it's the most magnetic. It's the biggest it can be, and you attract. So when you're in your room, a lot of Scorpios have to recharge. They shut people out, and when they come out, they're big as life again. They're fun. They're happy because they've had their away time, but they're magnetic and they draw in just about anything and anyone. I've noticed that with my son. He draws people in as well. So his birthday's on the 11th of the 11th at 11:45 a.m. He was born. He's a special, special baby. And he was, my psychic vision was he was under an angel's wing. He was born, I was 23 years ago, 11 months pregnant, no, 8 months pregnant, and I was big as can be, and I had a visual, an astral vision. And I saw this huge building, and under this, all this rubble was this massive angel's wing. Have you ever seen an angel's wing? It's huge. And under this angel's wing was little Christopher. And he's my special one. He's jumped from one lifetime, that's the September 11th, what happened with the Twin Towers, because at that time, that vision was so strong, I switched the news on, looking for the whatever it was that I felt that was something big was happening. And then we switched the news on, and then we watched the Twin Towers explode. And it was like he was trying to tell me that he's come from that lifetime into this lifetime. He's recently got this massive tattoo. Oh, it's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. It's an angel on his back. And I thought it was just amazing. So he said, I'm the angel, Mum. I said, yeah, you're the Cupid, but you also have an angel on your back. He said, that's right, Mum. So it's just, yeah, a special thing for him. I was very proud of him. That's why I had a big reading, because my son will see this on stage, because I said to him, watch water, I've got it up. So this is for my son as well, and for any other Scorpio or Cancer or Pisces out there. Something big's coming for you, and it's going to be golden, is what I get. And don't stress, because it'll come when it's ready, but you need to talk about it. You need to journal, you need to write your thoughts down, and you'll attract. I used to play a game when I worked in makeup, and I'd write $50 on a white piece of paper, which was we'd write down our sales. Within half an hour, I would have someone come in and buy a bottle of Estee Lauder, and at the time it was $50. So like attracts, you can manifest just like that. Write it down on a piece of paper, put it near a candle. Candle magic is different with different colours. Red is to bring in love. Orange, which is the colour of the pumpkin, is for fear. That's why we've got a scary face, to scare off the bad demons, because we're coming into the veil is at its thinnest right now. I saw the parade in America. It's a big deal in New Orleans, the Halloween. And they make the pumpkins, the jack-o'-lanterns, to scare off the bad energy. So there's a candle magic that you can get orange candle and put no fear, which means don't fear what you see. I don't want scary dreams. No fear, and you burn that orange candle for an hour every night. And if it's about protection, you would burn a light blue candle. Blue is protection. For health as well, or green for health. That's all I have for you. I know it's long, but okay, have a good evening, and don't forget to like and share and comment down the bottom of my page on how to control and turn down this thing that I've got right now, because it's huge. Thanks so much.